Today we're going to start Chavav Amid Beis. Goes like this. There's a Mishnah here. Isha shenech b'sha. Bidei oivdei kechavim. She was, what's the word for nech b'sha? She was taken captive. Not just taken captive, but it was she was being held. She was being held by non-Jews. Now, what's the reason for this? Why do they have her in? Why are they holding her? So, there's different possibilities, but one of them is al yedei mammon. She owes money. Her husband owes money, and they're holding her. They want to get their money. So, muteris labaila. She's still going to be permissible to the husband because they don't want to cause any harm. They want their money. They don't want that's all they want. Well, it's not so simple, but meanwhile, let's leave it at that. Al yedei nefashis, if there was a judgment on her for death or something, then that's a different story. Then asura labaila, then she can't be together with her husband afterwards. Now, there's different interpretations in the commentaries here. Rashi, he holds that she's asura labaila even if the husband is not a kohen. Rashi says that it could be that since they're just going to do anything to her, she just gives herself willingly to one of the prison guards or something to live with them. Well, it's Rashi's pshat. The other Rishonim don't learn like that. They say that we're just dealing with a kohen, and we assume that she had relations with one of the guards there, and she would be forbidden just if her husband is a kohen. In other words, it wasn't willingly. Amar Rav, it's a huge difference, of course. Amar Rav Shmuel bar Yitzchak Amar Rav. Rav Shmuel bar Yitzchak says in the name of Rav, Lo yishanu ela sheyad Yisrael takifa al evdei kechavim. We usually have, right after a Mishnah, we usually have a first generation Amira that's going to qualify the Mishnah. The Mishnah is talking about only in such and such a case. But medvarim amurim. Yeah, the Aramaic term for medvarim amurim is Lo yishanu ela. This was only taught when the Jewish people have this in us. When do we say that the woman is permissible to her husband when she's being held because of money? That's only with Yad Yisrael Takifa Alev Dekhavim, that the Jewish people are controlling the land. You know, maybe in the times of the Chashmonaim or something, or when this is being said. Aval Yadav Dekhavim Takifa Al Atzman. But if the non-Jews are in charge, this would go back and forth then she would be prohibited to her husband, even if she was only being held because they wanted money. Yeah. Even if she's being held for money, they're still going to violate her. If the Gentiles control the land. Jewish people control the land, then they're going to be more careful.
Versus she has debt.
Which one would be worse? It's worse. Right. 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 That makes sense. That may be what the Gemara means when it's Yad Yisrael Takifa Alev Tikechavim, is that they don't have that option of just doing whatever they want. They're holding her as a mashkin, but a mashkin is you hold a mashkin.
Yeah.
Okay. Massive Rava. Rava has a question. Heyed Reb Yossi HaKohen Reb Zechariah ben Akatzav. It's a testimony of money. Reb Yossi HaKohen and Reb Zechariah ben Akatzav al Bas Yisrael Shehur Hana b'Mashkin Hurana means that she was taken as a collateral, maybe given as a collateral. Doesn't sound good. In Ashkelon, apparently, either she or her husband owed money, and she was given as the collateral until the money's paid. They took the woman, took the wife. Bas Yisrael. Verichkua b'nei mishpachta. The family distanced themselves from her. They didn't like that story. But they're witnesses that she was not violated. The Chachamim said to the family, if you believe that she was given as a collateral or taken as a collateral, then you also should believe. How do you know that this whole collateral took place? You have to trust these witnesses. What happened? Now the witnesses are telling you what happened, and they're also saying that she wasn't violated. And if you don't believe that she wasn't violated because you don't trust the witnesses, so al tamina shuhurna, then don't believe them that she was given as a collateral. Gemara asks, this is really the question on Rav Shmuel Bar Yitzchak, name of Rav. The Rav says this is only in the place, only when the Jewish people are in control. But this story is telling us that she's permissible. That's what Rabbi Yossi Akayan and Zechariah ben Akatzav are saying, that the girl should be permissible because we have witnesses that say that she's pure. Well, 1 second. The problem is Ashkelon, the Yadav Kam Takifa al Atzman. Ashkelon is the land of the Pelishtim, and the Jewish people weren't living there. So Uktani, and it says over there Hurana in that when did they require the witnesses? That's only because she was given as a collateral. Nachpesha. What would happen if she was actually taken into captivity? Then loy, then she would be permissible even without witnesses. Notice this is worse. This is because she was offered as a collateral. It makes it worse, and that's why we needed witnesses. But if she just would have been taken as a mashkin, she was taken because she owed money. So then they wouldn't require witnesses. I mean, she would be permissible. Anyway, the Gemara says, "Hu adin afilu nechbesha." The truth is that the same thing would have happened. In other words, the Gemara was really just, why did it say that interesting case of Verna? Must be that that's a unique halacha. The Gemara says, no, that's not a unique halacha. That halacha would go across the board. So why did it say that unique case that she was given as a collateral? It says, well, that just happened to be the story. So they said the story. But the same thing would apply to however she was taken, however she's being held. If it's because of money, then if the Yad Akum, Yad Evdei Kechavim are in control, then she's going to require witnesses to make her tahar, make her that she wasn't violated. Morning. And if it's not Yad Yisrael Takifa, then she wouldn't require witnesses because it was just because of money. If it was not Yad Akum, it was Yadei Yisrael Takifa. Okay. Going to go over this again in 2 different ways.
What about Chachamim answer that?
That was the Chachamim's response to the family. That you have to trust the witnesses here. Family distance themselves, yeah. We're discussing now, why do they need witnesses at all? We're explaining because it was Yad Akum, Akifa. Okay, Ikad Amri, you with me? It's okay. Ikad Amri, there are those that say the same discussion, just a little different. How did this work? This was a statement from Rav Shmuel Bar Yitzchak, Amar Rav, with a question of Rava. Okay. There are those that say this, that Amar Rava, Afananami Tanina, exactly what you, Rav Shmuel Bar Yitzchak Amar Rav, exactly what you said. We have this also in a Mishnah. Mishnah says, Hey, the Rabbi Yossi Kain Reb Zachari ben Akatzav al Bas Yisrael Shehur and Bashkalain. The story with this Jewish girl that she was given as a collateral in Ashkelon. Brichka b'nei mishpachta ve'ida mida malash le'nistra v'sle'nitma. The family distanced themselves from her, but there were witnesses that said that she was not violated. And the sages said to the family, who told you that she was taken as a collateral? That's only the witnesses. And they're the ones that are saying that she wasn't violated. So if you're going to believe them, then you have to believe them all the way. If you don't want to believe them, so don't believe them all the way. The Gemara says, Rav is saying, Ashkelon da'yidei mamen hu. In Ashkelon, which is Ashkelon, da'yidei mamen hala. Ashkelon doesn't have to do with money. Though it's just the location. And it's supposed to probably be. And it was just because of money. The time of the Edom Isa, and the whole reason why we're believing that she wasn't violated is because of the witnesses. But if not for witnesses, then we would have said that she was violated. Contradicts the Mishnah. It must be, my love, it must be that there's no difference, herna and or nechbesha, that it doesn't matter if there was collateral or if she was just taken as if she was given as a collateral or taken as a collateral. If it's because of money, she really, according to the Mishnah, she should be permissible even without witnesses. Comes along Rishon Bar Yitzchak Marav and tells us that no, it depends if the yad akam takifa, and that's going to resolve everything. Exactly, the statement of Rishon Bar Yitzchak Marav is exactly clear from that Mishnah. Gemara says, "Like, not so, because her and Nashani, we could say that over there she was given as a collateral. Maybe really according to the Mishnah, in other words, even if we don't accept Reb Shmuel Bar Yitzchak Marav, maybe it's the same thing. But the only thing is, when she was given as a collateral, then we have to use witnesses to say that she was not violated. Okay. Ikad Ramali Mirma. There's some that view this as a contradiction. So it goes like this. Tanan, al yidei mammon muteres l'bayla, v'raminu, but there's a contradiction here. Rabbi Yossi v'Ashkelon, al yidei mammon, uktani time adei demi demesa, ein edemi demesa lai. This is really the way that I was saying it before, that it's a contradiction with the answer. But it sounds like that only with witnesses it's going to be good. Without witnesses.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah, 2:30
Oh my gosh. Where are you?
in Vancouver.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So we're on Chav Zayin before the Mishnah. Chav Zayin Amud Aleph. It says tani time if you don't have witnesses, then she's going to be usher. The problem is that in the Mishnah we said that she's going to be muteres l'bayla because she was only taken because they owed money. I think that nothing happened to her. Mashani, and for this we answer, Rishon Bar Yitzchak like kasha. There's really no problem because even the Mishnah was only talking about kan sheyad Yisrael takif alayv dekacham, kan sheyad dekacham takif alatzman. Depends who's in control. The Mishnah is talking about when the Yidden are in control, and then we say that she doesn't need witnesses. She can say about herself what happened. And the other Mishnah with Rabbi Yossi Akayan, that he testified about this. It's interesting. We don't have Rabbi Yossi Akayan really anywhere, except for Pirkei Avos. That's it. Right. Yeah. Right. Depends on the yeah.
chazaka when something's done 3 times.
Yeah.
In this case,
So we're using the term chazaka as just an assumed status. So when it happens 3 times, that gives us an assumed status. Or like if someone owned something before, we say, oh, it's probably still there. So, it's not. Or chazaka, like an assumed of what takes place. When a woman is taken captive, they assume that she was violated. But now the Mishnah is telling us that that's not when she was taken captive because of money. So, Rashi, when that was Al Yedei Nefashis, told us that even if it wasn't the Kohen. Yeah, Rashi is concerned that maybe she gave herself over because she just thinks that her life is over. Yeah. No, Al Yedei Nefashis, she thinks that her life is over, or her husband life, nothing matters anymore anyway. And we're afraid that she may have lived with one of the prison guards willingly. No, but here I don't see Rashi saying that on the money. I see it al yedei nefashis, but there is a contrast here. So maybe if she's prohibited al yedei mammon, if she's prohibited, why? Because yad akum takifa, then that case would be the same as al yedei nefashis. Maybe Rashi doesn't say that clearly, but maybe that would be the same thing. The other Rishonim don't learn that. They say that a Jewish woman would never give herself over willingly to live with one of the guards. She could never do that. Right. So the other Rishonim argue on Rashi.
they don't have chazaka that they'd be the menace. So someone who was forced, I just assume they're guilty. Unless you have aided that they're innocent.
Right. That's what's happening here. Over here it's guilty until proven innocent.
I think the nice instruction is that kind of chazaka.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a kasha and Rashi. Really?
For a very short time.
Uh-huh.
Oh, something. No, witness. Not for long.
Uh-huh. Mhm. Sounds familiar, but I don't remember.
Is this like related to method in a way, like same way that her life is in danger, she's still
Well, she should
sacrifice her life.
she should really be giving up her life, right? Because this is if she's a married woman, this is Gilead rights. No. What's wrong? Why is it not Gilead rights? Because he's not Jewish?
Pretty extreme.
Yeah. So there's a discussion about Esther, how she should have given up her life. That's a big discussion. Adultery. Yeah, it's one of the things that they're supposed to give up their life for. Yeah, we had that in Megillah. We said Esther Karkoilam. She was not. She was just there, but she wasn't involved in the act. But over there, no. But we're asking that even if the life is threatened, it's not a heter. Right. That's what we're saying. Okay. Now it says Al Yidei Nefasha is Asura. If if she was taken because of a death penalty of some sort, then she's forbidden to her husband. And Amar Rav says, not Nishei Ganvi, like the wives of the thieves, that the husbands are hung, and what they do to the family and to the householders, they just make everything ownerless. So even the wife becomes ownerless at that point, and then she would obviously be forbidden to a Kohen. Or if the husband survives, she'd be forbidden to. Levi Amar Kaganishti Shel Ben Dunai. Levi says, like the wife of Ben Dunai. Ben Dunai apparently was Rashi tells us he was a murderer. His name was Elazar Ben Dunai, and he, according to the Rabbi Steinfeld, he wasn't just a robber. He had a political group that was against the Romans, and the Romans called him a robber, but it was a political political group. So Amar Chizkiah, he quotes from Josephus. Amar Chizkiah v'husha nigmar dinan la'ariga. Chizkiah says that's only if the verdict came out already that he was supposed to be killed. They didn't wait till the judgment to violate the wives. Once they were taken prisoner, they decided. There was an assumed which way this was going to go, and they already violated the women. Okay.
Take his account of
Rashi quotes him as if it's authoritative. Yeah, but I think it's assumed that there's a lot of exaggerations in there. Okay. He was a Kayan, right?
That's not right.
I think so. Shua Karkam, a city that has a siege going on. Well, Kol Kainish and Psulas. All of the Kayanis, that means the wives of the Kayanim, are all going to be usher money. But if there are witnesses that they were not violated, who could those witnesses be? They're going to be believed. Those witnesses. But a person isn't believed about themselves that they weren't violated. We're talking about a city that's the enemy is laying siege to it. What's going on inside the city? The women are going to be violated. So they're all going to be usher unless they have.
All the women in the city are
going to be usher. All the Kayanis, unless there's a servant or someone with them that can testify that they weren't violated. That's what it sounds like. Here, the Gemara says, "Raminu." We have a contradiction. It says, "Beleshes." Beleshes is a like looters. They come in, or like what is it? These bandits. They come in and so it's a like a military unit that they come into the city and they take what they want. Shabol Le'ir. They come into the city. Well, b'shas shalom, if it's not a time of battle, so they're just going to take whatever. So chavius psuches asuris. If you had open barrels of wine, they're all forbidden because they probably poured it for avodah zarah. Stumais, but if the barrels are closed, then mutaris, those are permissible. Shas muchama, but if it's a time of battle, then elavela mutaris, then everything is permissible. If they don't have time to start pouring for idols, they're not doing ceremonies, when they're battle. Question is, if the enemy is laying siege, what are you telling me? That all the women are violated? They don't have time for that. There's a war going on. The Gemara answers, Rav Mari livo yesh panai lenasechem panai. Rav Mari says, no, there's always time. They found time to violate the women, but for the religious things, for the pour the wine, that they didn't have time for. Okay. Rabbi Yitzchak bar Elazar Mishmei Dechizki Amar. He gives another answer. He says, "Kan bekarkim shaleisa malchus, kan bekarkim shal malchus acheres." Different ways of learning this. This could go both ways. So each, if anything that could go both ways, the commentaries are obviously one's gonna do it this and one's gonna do it that. But it depends which country they're, if they belong to the same country or if they belong to a different country that's coming in and taking these spoils. Well, Rashi learns it. If they're from the same country, then they don't want to mess up the whole city. There's no vengeance, right? If it's Malchus Acheres, if it's a different country that they're coming into, then the women are going to be violated. So, and the wine would be. So you're saying wine and women are going to end up having both the same problem. It's just the question is what the scenario was. Are they coming from a different country? They're coming from the same country. Gemara says, "Shalisa malchus nami." Now this gets learned different ways now. Even if it's from the same country, but someone probably ran off and violated one of the women, one of these people. It's not all of them are so the opposite. Not all of them are so disciplined that this is what they want. That everyone's there on that. Everyone's got their own agenda while they're coming in. You know, individuals could have, right? Now, the other way of learning this Gemara, it would go the other way. The way it would work if you learn this the opposite, that if it's coming from another country, then they're afraid of what's going on. And then they're just busy with battle. They're not going to have time to be a menach. It's the opposite svara. They don't have time to pour the wine. They don't have time to live with the women. So therefore, they're just, they're fighting a battle. So now the Gemara says, but if it's the same country where the women were violated, is it not possible that one of them ran away? And if one of the women ran away, then each woman, we should say, that's the one that ran away. We're looking at the heter. You follow? That one of them got away. How can you say that they're usher if someone was able to get away? It's the opposite spot. We'll see soon. Yeah. Right.
They're running away from their life.
No, we were comparing the Beleshus and the Charkum together.
Why would they have a siege if it's peace? Their own country would have a siege around the city.
No, I understand that, but now we want to say that if it's from a Beleshus or Karkum coming from a different country, you have two ways of learning either yes or no. It's these like looters or bandits. Yeah. So there's two ways of learning, but one way of learning. Let's stick to one way because it's going to be confusing. We'll learn according to Rashi that if they're from the same country, then they're not going to violate the women and what about the wine? Oh, yeah, I hear. Right. Right. Yeah, there were. Yeah, but there wasn't monarchy. It was Rome and Persia. Okay. Amar of Yudam Shmuel we asked, but isn't it, someone probably ran away, and if they ran away, then they would have been violated. They ran out from the group, and Amar of Yudam Shmuel when the guards were watching one another, they could see. When it says they're not awake the whole time, they doze off also. Well, this is when they had everything under perfect control. They had chains and they had dogs and they had branches that people would trip on if they would walk. And they had geese that would, so what did geese do? Honk. That would honk. If anyone would go out of line. I didn't know they used geese for that, but all right. No, we're thinking that one of the soldiers ran away, ran out from the group and was violating women in the houses. That's the other shot. The other shot would go like this: that it's not possible that the women were able to escape from them, and they wouldn't be violent. Okay. Amar Rav Abba Bar Zavda Pligi Bar Rabbi Yehuda Nasiya v'Rabbanan. There's actually a machlekes about this between Rabbi Yehuda Nasiya, the grandson of Rabbi Yehuda Nasi, and the Rabbanan. Chad Amar Kan bekarkum shleis malchus, bekan bekarkum shel malchus acheres. He doesn't have any questions here because he says that the Mishnah that says that everyone is pasul is talking about Malchus Acheres. They're a different country. And this Malchus, everyone is kosher. They're coming from the same country. They're more cautious. The other one, Kashali Kolhani, he has all the questions. The Mishani Kigain the Mahadale Lamasa, Shoshilta Vakal Vagavza. And he answered the answer that we gave. So one of them didn't have the questions lachatchila because right away he understood that there was an answer here, different country coming from. And the other one, we said that he didn't learn that distinction. And even if it's in the same country, then there should be a problem because maybe someone would run out of the group and end up violating the women. We said no. We were talking about where there were dogs and geese that would honk if someone would do that. Okay. Amar Avidi Baravan Amar Rabbi Yitzchak Barashian. Im Yesha Machpais Achas Matzelas ala Kaihanais Kulan. Going back to the Mishnah. Rabbi Yitzchak Barashian is saying that in the Mishnah we said that any wives of Kayanim that were in the city during the siege are all considered that they've been violated and they're forbidden to the husbands. Rabbi Yitzchak Barashian says that's not so. Because if there was a hideout, some place where they could be safe, some, basement in the safe in the bank, that they could have protected themselves. So then, he's saying in the Jewish quarter, so then they would be permitted to the husbands. Okay. Boy, Rabbi Yirmiyah has a question. Let's say that hideout that could protect the women could only protect one woman. It wasn't big enough. Small room. So mi amrina and kol chada v'chada hainuha. Do we say that every woman? That's every woman that comes to Bezdin. We say she's the one that was protected.
Well, it's an assumption.
Right, it's an assumption. Can we say that on each one that comes? Or maybe we don't say that. She can only protect one woman.
Could be one of them was an honest. Saying the same one that was an honest, just like you're saying this was an honest, this is the one that was hiding.
No, we're talking about all the kayanis. Now we're dealing with just everyone was. If honest doesn't help. Honest means that it was forced. It was rape. She's still prohibited to her husband if she's a kayan. He's a kayan. Now, question is, if there's only enough room in this hideout one woman, do we say that that protects all of the women? And we say each of them has been protected. The Gemara says, well, we had a Gemara exactly like this. There's two paths, and on the path there's a corpse, echad tami v'echad tar, but it's like hidden on the path. So, well, v'halach bechen me'am vasataris. The person walked on one of the paths. He doesn't remember which one. And right after he went along the path, he then touched his grain and he, prepared some food. His friend walked on the other path. Also doesn't know which path he walked on, and he did taris. He touched the food. Well, one of them is definitely definitely tummy. One is definitely tar. We think. So Rabbi Yehuda Aimer if they come into the court or to the rabbi and they ask separately, someone says, "Am I tar?" Said, "Yeah, you have chazaka that you're tar, because before you were tar, we don't know that you became tummy. Maybe you became tummy, maybe not. But the chazaka is that you're still tar." So tairus, shneim kachas. But let's say they both come to Bezdin and ask at the same time. They say, "Are we tar?" Right? So they have to say, "I'm sorry, Timaeus. You can't both be tar. One of you is going to be tummy. Which one? We're going to say they're both tummy." Yeah, you're gonna see though. There's a big difference. There's one factor here that's we're missing. You'll see in a second. Rabbi Yossi Aimer ben kach tmein. Rabbi Yossi says no, they're always going to be tar. If they come at the same time, everyone says that they're tummy. You see, when they come at the same time, I can't use the logic that you have a cheskas tar because I know that one of you is tummy. So it's b'zeach hazeh. They come one after the other. Then divrei kol tayrim. Then each one, I put him on his own status. I say he's tar. Really, what's going on here is when each individual is coming and say, "My tar and is my friend tar." One of them, which would be Rabbi Yossi, says that that's considered like they're coming both together because he's asking for his friend. Other one says that no, that's more similar to coming one after the other, and we could give a psak for each one individually. In our case as well, we have the siege and we have one hideout, right? Even the since we're permitting all of them, that's as if they're all coming and asking us the question all together. Are all the women here tar? So we're going to say that we can't say that they're all tar. Umar says 1 second. Well, hold on. Missing one major point. Over there's Tuma on the road. One of them went on the Tuma. There's a Vadai. Over here, we don't know if anyone was violated. We're thinking that they were violated. Yeah, over here we have a city. Basically, these are all like shmuyas, right? They're all taken captive. If someone's taken captive, we need a testimony that they weren't violated. We're assuming that they were violated. They were forced. And if the husband's a kohen, even if the wife was forced, it was unwilling, she's prohibited to the husband. Now, we assume that the women were forced. We need someone to testify that they weren't. So, because over here we have a loophole that not all the women were forced because we have a place that they were hiding. There was a place some of them were hiding it. So every woman that shows up, right? Okay, so that's the other factor. Right. So, right, that's how the Gemara concludes.
Rabbi,
Yeah.
am I the only one who's lost your volume? All of a sudden, I can't hear you for this. Oh,
I'm sorry. Is that better?
yeah, thank you.
Okay, I'm turning it up a little bit. So, the question is if we can save all of their halachic status, because there's a place that they could have been hiding that they wouldn't have been violated. Now, if that place doesn't have enough room for everyone, can we say that each one comes with their shaila and each one will say that they're tar? Altogether, it's going to be a problem. So the Gemara says, well, it looks like we're paskening on them all together. We're saying, so if it was all together, it can't be that it saved everyone. So we're going to have to say that they're tameh. So then the Gemara adds in, it says, no, because we don't know that they were violated anyway. We're just assuming that they were violated, but that's not strong enough to say that they're going to be tameh when they also have a place that they could have been hiding.
You know what I'm going.
It's quoted in Taruvas. This Gemara is quoted. Yeah. Yeah, when you take one of the pieces of meat, you say this is the Torah one. Yeah. Kuftes.
One of them is that there was a hiding room. The other one is that we don't know if it was
Right.
involved.
Right.
It's not an absolute.
Right. Boy Rav Ashi. Now Rav Ashi has a question. Amr leinich beisi v'leinit beisi mao. Let's say this woman is very honest. She says, you should know that I was not one of the women that was hiding in that hideout. However, I also was not violated. Ma, what's the din? Mi amrinan, do we say mali l'shaker? If she wanted to lie, she could have said that she was hiding there. We won't know who's hiding there. There was a hideout. She could have been hiding. Maybe we don't say that. Well, the Gemara says now, it's an interesting question. The Gemara says, what about that story? This sounds like it's similar to the story of there was this fellow, he rented a camel, not a camel, a donkey to his friend. Chamra means a donkey. It means wine also. Chamra. The chamra geichasa. Right, wine in the cup. The chamra tava, a nice wine. Yeah, how do you know if it means wine or donkey? Depends what type. It depends what type of kick you get out of it. So, he rented a donkey to his friend. Amalei, leitezel beorcha denar p'kai dikamaya. I'm renting it to you, but don't take it on the path of Nahar Pekoid. That was one along the river Pekoid, because over there there's water. Zilbercha de Narish. Go along the path of Narish. Lekamaya, over there's no water. Now Va'azaliya Borcha de Nahar Pekoid. He went along the one that he wasn't supposed to go on, Nahar Pekoid. Umischamra, and the donkey died. Asalakami de Rava comes to Rava. Amalei in Borcha de Nahar Pekoid Asli. You should know that I went on the wrong road. I wasn't supposed to go on that road. However, Miolei Havimaya, but there was no water there. Rava says, Mali l'shaker. If he wanted, he could have lied. He didn't have to tell us. He didn't have to admit to that. He could have said he went on the other road. Abaya says, but we have testimony that there is water there. Mali l'shaker. It gives us strength to a claim. Mali l'shaki, if he would have lied, if he would have been a liar, he would have said something different. Therefore we should believe him now. But that doesn't give me the strength to believe him against something that's so ridiculous. He's telling us that there was no water by Nahar Pekoid. We know that there's always water there. Now you're saying that because he could have said that he didn't even go on that road, we should believe him that there's no water here. That doesn't give him enough strength to tell us something that we know is obvious. Now we call this b'makom edim, in the place of witnesses. It's not really edim, but it's like a non-sadi edim. We all know that that's not true. So hachiyash the hasam vada yeke edim. So 1 second, what's happening now? So therefore, we want to say that these women, this woman that comes and says that she did not go hide in the place, but she wasn't violated. So we want to say mali l'shaka b'makom edim. We were assuming that everyone was violated, and she has a migu. She could have said that she was hiding in that hideout. So therefore, we shouldn't believe her because it's b'makom edim. It's hachiyash the hasam vada yeke edim dekamaya hachavada yitzmi. You have to read it as a question. Over there's for sure water. We don't believe people about themselves that they weren't violated. They need to have someone else testify. Yeah. Because of the situation, we don't believe them. Everyone's going to say that. Right. Now, if they were hiding in the thing, then that's good. But she told us clearly that she wasn't hiding.
And she's a Kohenes?
Yeah.
So therefore she would have to.
Right. That should tell us that she's telling the truth. The problem is that the truth that she's telling us is so far-fetched that we shouldn't believe her because it's not strong enough. And we can't believe it, like the guy that's trying to tell us that there was no water on the Harpakite.
I mean, can she say that, look, this is the room where I was hiding and
Yeah, then she would be believed. So that's what the Gemara says. Very good. So the Gemara says over there, Vada Yeke Edim Dekamai, over there's for sure water. And we know that there's water. But Hacha Vada Yitmi, is it so definite that she was violated? It's not so definite. It's just an assumption. It's a suspicion. Amigo, she will be believed. That's what the Gemara concludes us. Okay. Im Yeshedim. Time is in. Another few minutes. If there are witnesses, then those witnesses will trust to allow the woman to go back to her husband, even if that witness is a servant or a maidservant, will trust them all. The Gemara says, even if it's her own servant. Now, this is not so clear because, well, as we'll see in a moment, even if it's her own servant. We have a contradiction. It says, if a man is dying, he gives his wife a get because he doesn't want her to have to wait for his brother to be of age to do yibam. So he gives her a get on condition. He says, if I die, then this should be your get. And if I survive, then it's not a get. Problem is that from that moment on, he's not allowed to have relations with her. Why? Because it's going to come out that the child was born after the get. There's going to be a child born after the get. That's not going to be good. So it's called a get yashin. Conceived after the get. Right. But nevertheless, it wouldn't be good for the child. Anyway.
Yeah, it's already called. Get takes effect as soon as it gives it to them.
Right. Okay. But he is allowed to be secluded with her if there is a witness there. Now that witness could be a servant, but however, it can't be her servant. Why? Because her servant, she would be comfortable having relations in front of her own servant together with her husband. It's her husband, right? And in front of her own servant, she would liba gaspa. She feels like she controls the servant anyway, the servant. But so that's not considered a good protection from the yichud if it's her servant. The problem is now, we just said that if there's witnesses that are saying that she wasn't violated, we say that her own servant would be considered a valid witness to testify that she wasn't violated. But we don't say that when it comes to her husband. So Amar Rav Papa b'shvuyei kilo. Papa says we're more lenient when it comes to a captive woman. That's Rav Papi. Rav Papa Amar ha b'shiv chadida, b'shiv chadidei. Depends. Her servant or his servant. His servant would be okay. Her servant is not okay. You're telling me that we can't trust her servant. But the Mishnah said that she only can't testify about herself. Sounds like her servant would be good, even if it's her servant, not his servant or another servant. The Gemara says, her servant is like herself. Well, strict view of Rav Papa, right? Ravashi Amar Hava b'shiv chadida. Ravashi says there's a big difference because it's both dealing with her servant. It depends what the scenario is. Shifcha mechzachazi v'shaska. Her servant will see what's happening and she won't say anything. So Hasam over there, when it came to the get, b'shtikasa matirta lay mehemna. Over there, we don't trust her servant because she's going to say, "I was with them the whole time." Doesn't help. Okay, because we think that they probably had relations. They were in the room together, and this woman would not stop them from having relations. Hacha d'shtikasa isarta mehemna. But over here, when it comes to the captive, when there's the siege or captive, so then she has to actually say more than just. If she doesn't say anything, then the wife is going to be prohibited. She has to actually speak out. So when she does speak out, then we'll believe her. Okay, one second. Yeah. Yeah.
So that's a presumption that overrides everything. That likely they're together when someone's dying.
I said once, they said there was an old man and an old woman that were in the room. So the man said, "It's yichud, I have to go outside." The woman said, "No, I'm an old lady. What are you worried about? And you're an old man. There's nothing." So the guy says, "The Yetzer Hara can make you young and beautiful, and it can make me." Anyway, that's okay. So Hashtanami Yasim Mishaka, maybe they're going to lie now. The Gemara says Tarti La Yavda. Two things she's not going to do wrong. One is to stay silent. Let's leave this because we're going to have to go through this. We'll tomorrow we'll do the question. I'm going to make it one night. Okay. Have a good day, everyone. We'll go back over then.